Is Mary wanting to just watch or participate?
Mary, are you coming on?
You know what? Okay, I will. I just
Okay.
like my background now. Everybody's
You're good.
No, I'm
pressure.
also, my background is just, we're live on Facebook.
We
We
all
all
look fabulous.
apologize for our backgrounds,
We all
except
look
for
good.
Troy.
I'm here at the Great
Oh,
Barrier
look at you
Reef.
with the fish. Do you have a bunch of refugees in Houston now? My nephew and niece fled New Orleans and ended up in Houston for a night, and then went on to San Antonio to her. my niece.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Glad
Yeah.
they're safely out.
There's a lot
am.
happening right now, my goodness. Okay, hi everyone. I'm Melissa Flower. I will be mediating this talkback for Cry of the Reed by Sinan Ünel. I hope I said your last name right too.
Good.
Good. It was directed by Troy Scheid, and I said your last name, Scheid.
It's Scheid, yeah, that's okay.
Okay, well, I've known you for a long
Let's see,
time.
let's hear you say Mary's last name.
Neufeld, Mary Neufeld.
There you go, girlfriend.
Yes, my name is easy. Okay, so let's get started. This reading is, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I think it was my favorite one of our Zoom readings.
Oh,
And
thank
an
you.
incredible feat of getting all of the international performers doing the words. The editing is beautiful. The actors are astounding. The script was wonderful. So just applauding you on that, all that great work. Well worth the wait. Okay, so Sinan, first question is, where did this come from? What was the seed? What was there a moment, or have you been developing this idea for a while?
It was several things. Chidem Onat, who played Ayla, she and I met in New York. She lived in New York at the time, and we became very friendly. And she has that sort of mystical, profound life philosophy and life view. And we spent many hours talking. And these were ideas that I had been really playing around in my head with, and I'd been reading Rumi. I kind of thought I was going to write something about Rumi, but these conversations and my friendship with her just sort of became richer and richer. And at the same time, well, at one point, there was this young Turkish journalist who was abducted in Iraq with a Canadian colleague, and they were held for about 5 days, and they were both released. I mean, yeah. So those two ideas, and I always thought about writing. I mean, even with Rumi, when I was thinking about Rumi, I was really thinking about that aspect of Islam or any other religion that is purely about love and generosity and humanity. And a lot of what we see and experience here, there, everywhere is much harder, as you know, violent sometimes aspect of religion. And Islam particularly, which is because we see that on TV a lot, and at that time there were beheadings and all these really horrible stuff, and I just wanted to talk about that contrast, and also about faith, and obviously it's a huge question, and I kind of had my characters sort of playing around with those ideas about atheism and faith, and Ayla is so pure and strong and substantial in her belief, whereas the Iraqi boy Nabil has such a fragile faith in a way. I mean, it's. I was saying to somebody the other day, belief is unmovable. Belief is unmovable. Faith is fragile, right? So when you have belief, which is what people who are deeply religious, or maybe I shouldn't say these things, but that kind of belief that can't be moved, that can't be changed or negotiated with, is very different than coming to life with faith, or because it's really about curiosity, about the unknown. Anyway, so I
Mhm.
guess that's a big answer to your short question. But so those were essentially Chidem and the event that happened in Iraq were the incentives, and Rumi.
And Rumi. And you are, can you frame yourself a little bit? What is your background and why are you reading Rumi? And
I was born in this country. My dad was Turkish. My mom was from Oklahoma, and they met at the University of Michigan. And I was 1 year old when my family moved there. So I grew up there, but I always had this other aspect to me, which was American. So my Turkish aspect and my American aspect has always been sort of in dialogue, yet also in conflict with each other.
uh-huh.
And a lot of my writing is really the effort of my life. My life effort is to bring those two things together, you know, both location and culturally and philosophically, you know, because my family in Turkey they were not practicing, but they were Muslim, and my family in America was obviously Christian. And, you know, the two different languages, two different cultures, that's where a lot of my writing comes from, essentially. So this was having a play in two languages between two countries was pretty perfect for me, really. I'd never thought it would happen. So
And it's cool. And so it's your father's language and your mother's language then.
right, yeah,
And those two worlds talking to each other.
yeah. So it was a great opportunity, and everybody did a great job. And Troy has been absolutely amazing, as you know.
Yes. Yeah. And I guess since we're in our origin stories right now, Mary, you've been collaborating with Sinan for a while.
Yes.
I just heard a little bit about that. And then you've come to this, you read the stage directions, I read the stage directions. And did you collaborate on this play?
No, I just know
Script?
Sinan at some point will say, well, I'm working on this. Or he says, I'm going to Konya to do research. Or I'm going to St. Petersburg to do research. And then we have the joy of sometimes partaking in the first read through, or, you know, whatever. So I've actually read stage directions for a couple of his plays. This was by far the most difficult, but I think that this play, this reading, this recording is really powerful. And it features, and the writing, of course, keeps it is amazing, but I think it very much works in a really simple, in your face way. Kudos to you, Troy, too. I mean, I saw the play in Boston on stage, and like the scene with the phone calls, being able to see them so close together, the two women, was devastating. Whereas on the stage, it was fine, but they were way opposite each other on a big stage. It's wonderful. So, but yes, we go way back. I'm from Kansas. I know Sinan from many years. So
Mary was involved with my very first production at the University of Kansas. She was stage manager, right? Were you stage manager? You were involved somehow. Three of Cups when we first did it.
No, that was in New York City. You
no,
did
no.
in New York City.
I knew you at KU, didn't I? Anyway, Venetia was stage
in
manager.
passing. Yeah, he did it. His first play in New York City was above or below a whorehouse. As stage manager, I sat below the hot tub, and I would hear it. I'd hear the sex, and then I'd hear the hot tub come on. But thank God the theater didn't hear it. Three of Cups.
I didn't
Sinan
realize
has
that.
an incredible body of work. Absolutely an incredible body of work.
Thank you.
That's good. I was thinking of, have you seen, there's a play called Nora that's an adaptation of Doll's House that deals with some of these similar questions. It made me think of that play because I saw that. When did I see that? Oh man, so it seems like a decade ago because it's all pre-pandemic. I have to find the writer. Okay, Troy, we're in first. So when you came to this play, we've been planning this reading for a while and trying to get the right people together and everything. When you first encountered the play, what were your initial impressions? Yeah, and then did it grow and evolve as you were trying to figure out how to make it happen with internationally and all of this?
Yeah, so I got the play in December of 2020, and Elizabeth from Wordsmyth said, "Do you think this can go up around, December 17th or so?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's try to make it work." And then just my schedule was overwhelming, and I was like, "Let's push it back." And with one thing and another, one of them, so in January we had the Capitol insurrection, and so that didn't seem like the right moment to get people interested in something else. But in talking to Sinan, we kind of said, right now, because we're doing a virtual reading, everybody is equidistant no matter where they are in the world. So we can cast Chidem Onat, who originated the role in the English language version, the role that was written for her. We can cast actors who are based in Istanbul. And it just, we collaborated with the Municipal Theater of Istanbul. Mehmet Ergen is the artistic director, and he cast the three Turkish-speaking men. And aligning schedules took a little while, rewriting. Now that we had actors who fluently spoke Turkish, Sinan was able to rewrite the play to be fully bilingual and have scenes take place in the language they would really take place in real life. It took a while, and then subtitling took quite a while, but I'm super pleased with the way it turned out. I think, the readings are so hard to get right because you have so little time. And I would just love to see, where it goes from here.
Yeah, usually I ask this question at the end, but you're kind of launching me because I'm wondering, now that you've done it so bilingual, how do you imagine it in a live space?
I imagine it bilingual in a live space.
Yeah.
You do?
With the subtitles, like an opera.
Yeah, subtitles for everything like it is right now. And I almost always imagine staging things in the round or in 3/4, because that's the majority of the staging that I've done.
Same.
And so that would be, you'd have projections on 4 walls all the time.
Oh.
Well, the original play was obviously it was all in English, so this is a departure from this was really interesting. Yeah, and I have to say, everybody was amazing, but Mary, even though she did not understand the language, got those cues. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you did that, Mary.
I couldn't take my eyes off the script. It was terrifying. Yeah, it was amazing. It was fun. That's why it was really nice to be able to watch the recording, because I didn't know anything about that. It was hard. I mean, the acting on Zoom is hard enough. I mean, I'm not there. I think young people take to it easier. Some of us old timers aren't trained. There's something about it. You can land emotions in a theater or in rehearsal hall every time, or try to every time, and feel really good about making progress. On Zoom, it deteriorates. Like, for me, it does.
I think this year we've learned, because I remember initial Zoom readings or Zoom things I saw on Zoom, they've gotten better. So I think actors have watched them, they watched themselves, and then they're like, oh, I think we've learned Zoom acting. Maybe there'll be Zoom acting classes.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that's interesting.
Troy, I told Sinan is I kind of I wish we could have recorded all 3 days,
Mm.
because I felt like it would have only been 9 hours. Now that would have been a tremendous amount of more work for you. But Isla, I mean, she expressed on the 3rd day, this is very hard. I mean, I relate to her because we're the same age, you know, we're peers, that this is not, I mean, we're theater people or film people where with that, but the theater people where we know how to repeat things and elevate things, but my goodness, all of a sudden, you know, in front, and some of the young guys, you look at these young men, in the young man playing Nabil. I mean, I think in his head, he knew exactly what he wanted to do with that, with the screen, you know.
Oh,
You know, I mean, they were very comfortable with her. And I thought that was, you know, interesting. So, but anyway, I was compared, I'm going to drop bad mouth somebody now. The Public Theater started doing, they did one of those, The Family That's in Rhinebeck, New York. It's a series of plays. And anyway.
Oh, I didn't actually watch it, but I saw they were doing it. Yeah.
You know what? This was so much better. It was, they were too busy trying to pass it off as real theater, or, you know, maybe because the text isn't as good, but this was so compelling, this recording.
Yeah.
You know, and there were no costumes. I mean, actually, that's not true, Troy. You maybe have worked with people about that, but you know, it's just text and a face.
Yeah, I read somewhere early on when we were doing another play for Zoom as well, that they said, don't pretend it's a stage. Just don't, because it just never works. Just be honest, just be direct, look in the camera, you know, make sure that the script is, you know, in front of you. You know, there's certain things that you have to do on Zoom that really make a difference. And the one thing that I found was really effective is actors looking straight at the camera when they speak. I think that was, yeah.
And there's also a trick to not having, you have the text digitally, you don't actually have paper.
Right.
I'm afraid of paper pages making noises. So I actually use 2 computers, but there are tricks. This is what the class would teach us. Is that right? You know,
Right.
how to have the text.
The Zoom class.
Yeah.
There we go. Masterclass in Zoom right here. Okay. Oh man, my next question, I didn't. Okay. So usually we have like an audience moment where we can ask what was the most impactful lines or most impactful scenes or things that hit you the most. We might have some audience members watching on Facebook Live. So we're asking that if there's moments or things that really struck you during the play, or things that you strongly remember. The thing that and this is very obvious, but you have the whirling dervishes as an image in the piece. And, you know, I made the poster, and I think I read like sort of that initial whirling dervish image, and I anticipated, well, the play has changed since I read it for the, I feel like the play has changed a lot. It changed a lot listening to it. But
You have changed.
Yeah. And the, so can you just talk about the whirling dervish image in the play for you, and what role it is, because it's not a character, is not a whirling dervish, correct?
You want me to answer the
Hakan.
question? Well, when it's staged, at the end, at the very end of the play, there are 2 actors on stage, and there are 6 actors in total. So they're in the stage production. Those 4 actors are whirling dervishes.
They are in actuality, or they are.
No, they play the whirling dervishes. So they come and they whirl, which is something they had to learn, which is kind of a skill. But yeah, is that what you meant? Or
one of them is Hakan, though.
yeah, Hakan. Yeah,
Hakan is
as himself, as
himself.
Yeah.
Okay, that was what I was asking. One is
Right.
actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually would have loved to have had more footage of the whirling dervish, but I know you try to keep it trimmed.
Yeah, So
is there
the
a
thing
rights
about
thing?
film is that you can make different demands on the audience's imagination, and you can, of course, hand them everything in a very literal way, and I was trying not to do that, but also in the clip of the whirling dervish, you can see some other instrumentalists, and they are not playing the ney, and so I was like, this is weird because he's like drumming, and the music doesn't match. So I'm going to give them as little as possible so that they understand this concept, which is, as Sinan was saying, this is not the typical American white Christian American audience members encounter with Islam in arts entertainment. So they had to have something because most of us are not equipped to fill in that blank on our own.
But you know what? You leave us wanting more. So I'll go and do some research on my own and find my own.
Yeah.
I think that the image at the beginning you did after Isla's speech was really lovely. I thought that was really effective. It was very nice.
I like the one at the end because you can see the feet, and I think that shows technique a little bit more.
They're the same image.
They're
they're the same.
What?
They're the same image. One is black and white, and one is in color, but it's the same clip. So.
Oh, sneaky. The second, William Duell is saying that the second phone call between mother and daughter, poignant and perfect, and the very last sentence, which was devastating. I agree. The last sentence was, really rings true for me too. Actually, all of the interactions between mother and daughter, the characters are very, very rich. So, and this reporter, the Canadian, there's so much, I was thinking there's so much thought. Like each one has their own sort of like Aristotelian thought. They are encapsulating these perspectives and these ideas, and they're so rich. I mean, the characters are just so deep. Is there, when you were doing you said the reporter and the Canadian came from a news story. Were there other resources, or what are you thinking? If you were to say, or maybe summarize for you what all the different things you were trying to achieve with the different characters.
Well, I interviewed the woman who had been kidnapped. So a lot of that story came from her. And as I said, Isla is largely based on Chidam, but also another friend of my mother's who was a very smart woman. She was a communist for many, many years in Turkey. And then at one point in her life, she made this incredible switch and she became a Muslim. Really smart, really, Nili, you know her, Mary. So she was also an inspiration. I have to say, there's a real person, obviously everything is personal, but I wrote this play between a stroke and brain surgery. So what happened was, if you want me to tell the story, I mean, it's not a big, long story, but what happened was I'd been working on the play for a really long time. I was really passionate about it. I had all these ideas in my head, and I had a stroke. and I was in a sauna and I was naked, and something happened, like my body started doing this weird thing. And I'd been told that I had an aneurysm in my brain a long time ago, so I knew exactly what was happening. This happened in the sauna. I was able to stand up. I was able to call the attendant and ask him to bring my partner John to me, because I'm leaving the planet, right? So whatever happened, I was in an ambulance. The ambulance was going toward the hospital. Hospital is an hour away, and this thing is like actively happening, yet I'm awake. And I just remember cursing because I thought, I'm not going to write the play. I'm not going to write the play. I was just so pissed off about that. And I think your brain does a weird thing. You know what I mean? Like at that moment when you're facing your last moments, maybe you sort of hold on to something, like, ah. Anyway, it was okay. It was a minor stroke. I've recovered. But then the doctor said, now that this has happened, we need to do surgery and repair the aneurysm. So that was scheduled for about 6 months later. So during those 6 months, I wrote the first act. And I deliberately didn't write the second act because I thought, I'm going to have to come back for this. I'm going to come back from that surgery for this. Mm-hmm. I've told this, Mary probably knows the story, John's heard it a million times, but John, who is watching. And right before surgery, I had a part of the play that I couldn't quite figure out. And specifically, it was the statement she gives to the insurgents, the radio address she says about the mother. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what she was going to say. And I had surgery. I came out and I was bandaged and whatever, and boom, that speech came. Mm-hmm. And I had a nurse, I think she was Bulgarian, and she knew I was a writer. And I said, "Can I have a pad and paper?" And she said to me, "Are you inspirated?" I said, "Yes, I'm inspirated." So she brought me a pad, and I could barely hold it, but I wrote that speech. Wow. And a lot of Philip's and then I was in rehab for a month, just me and my brain, and the play. And so it just was going crazy. And a lot of Philip's confronting his mortality and his that place where he is between the physical world and the world after, or whatever, that whole crisis that he's living through came from that. Anyway, so that's the story. Was there a question that I was answering? I just kind of went into that script.
No, but you just, that was incredible.
I mean, it was personal because I was facing mortality and these characters were facing mortality and they were facing spiritual questions and I was facing those questions.
Mm-hmm. And that's why they're so vivid.
And that how fragile life is, like in a sauna, it can just happen like that and you're gone. Mm-hmm. And then that I recovered, that I came back and, like I'm fine, and, going into brain surgery, you think about these things because there's a fairly good chance you're not going to come out of it, So those moments of really facing that unknown, and sort of having a kind of faith that it's going to be okay,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that, like, I'm thinking of that mother's speech, that her just wanting to embrace hopelessness.
Well, she said yes. I mean, yeah. I mean, what good is hope? She's gonna go anyway. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then she comes home. John is asking a much lighter question, but did you make cuts when you translated it? Were there cuts from the original English scripts and anything that did not work online that worked on stage?
I made a lot of cuts because it was going to be a Zoom reading, and I knew that Zoom readings are hard to sustain, and there were longer speeches, Philip had a big long speech. Isla had a couple of longer speeches. There was a whole scene of Isla when she describes how her son commits suicide, which is a heartbreaking thing in the play, but I felt on Zoom it wasn't going to translate as well, and it just felt not very necessary. As long as we knew that she lost a child, it felt superfluous for her to sort of describe how it happened.
Oh, interesting. That mystery is kind of nice too, actually.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Troy knows. You know what the stuff I cut, right, Troy? I mean,
Yeah, there's the thing I was thinking of specifically was that Josh is a musician. He doesn't say he's a professional musician, but he has a music, he plays music at home.
yeah,
And I
cut
think
that.
so we were talking about that scene where the first time Sevgi gets the phone and she and Philip are trying to call Isla, and Isla's serving tea in the middle of the night, and I'm not sure it's possible to get the kind of chaos that scene needs on Zoom and still tell the story. And when I finished editing it, I felt like I was like, okay, I can now envision what this scene would look like on stage. But I feel like there's still something missing. I want to see that scene in
There's
4D.
a lot of stuff in this play I want to see on stage.
Well, I mean, look, there are scenes, there's the bombing happening, what I mean? So you can, there's things, but we had Mary saying those things, and it was really evocative for me that it really came through, because Mary has that sort of very calm, steady voice and very focused, and it just comes alive when she speaks those words. So I personally didn't miss the bombing, but I mean, when you're on stage and when there's actual bombing and lots of explosions, that's exciting. That's a good end to Act 1.
Are there things that you cut for this that you think will just remain out, or do you think you'll put everything back in when you go back to the stage?
I think some things will remain out.
Okay.
I think some of those cuts were good cuts.
And then are there things that when you entered this Zoom reading, because usually the purpose of a reading is also for the playwright to try to figure something out. Was there something specific you were trying to figure out in this, listening to it, like a specific question you had about your play?
The play is always, there's lots of questions about the play. I mean, about the writing of the play, not really. I mean, it had been done, it had been produced, I'd translated it already, and it had gone through, well, as we were preparing for the reading. I'm always interested in what the audience takes away, obviously. But I wasn't doing the reading to improve the play. Although I think through the course the play improved. I didn't set out to do that, but I think the cuts were good. I think some of the cuts were really good.
And does it now, I guess a harder question, because Troy, you were like, oh, the insurrection isn't a good time to do the play. But now we have a totally new context with everything that's happening in Afghanistan. And people are having a lot of question. It's like there's a lot of questioning. There's a lot of how to frame things. All kinds of conversations happening. Does the play change for you in this context?
I think for me, the current event that impacted the way I understood the play is not the withdrawal of US troops from Afghanistan. And I certainly am not qualified to even be like an armchair opinion person on that. But so when the January 6th insurrection happened, that's that's when I looked at the play in a new light, because the play has some characters. It's set in, so hopefully everybody will go watch it, but it is set in 2004 in Turkey and across the border in Iraq. This is as the Iraq war is ramping up. This is the era of shock and awe. This is we don't meet any people from the US government or its allies, but there are some extremists who are characters in the play who are the ones who do the kidnapping of Safki and Philip. And I knew this question was going to come up, so I've been trying to figure out how to frame this answer. But I think we should always be careful as audience members if we go to a play to see the quote unquote other in that play. I think we always should go hoping to see ourselves. And I think after the January 6th insurrection, when you see a teenager like the character Nabil, who says, I hate my life here. I can't wait to be a martyr because my afterlife is going to be so much better than this. And to see that not as an other, but to look at your fellow Americans and think, could we live in an America where all of the systems have failed us, and where people put their religious certainty of a better life beyond this ahead of their personal safety and the safety and care of others? And could we live in an America where the authority figures that we are supposed to trust are in fact in league with the worst parts of ourselves? Yeah, I think we can imagine that.
Yeah, we can.
So
rapture.
that, I mean, the narrow interpretation of the lives of those characters who are pursuing extremism in the play is not a description of an other.
That's amazing, Troy. Yeah. There's one thing that is slightly embarrassing, is that, I have, obviously we had actors who played those insurgents in Boston, and they're American actors of Middle Eastern descent. And I was embarrassed to have them play terrorists, essentially. Because I think they're so used to that now, oh, there's a role, it's a terrorist, obviously there was no way around that. And I think that, I don't know, maybe, I think they're all real, but I mean, I don't know. I put something on Facebook the other day, and I said something like, there are no truly evil people, that there are people who are displaced or people who are whatever. And people said, yes, there are evil people. You know what I mean? So that question of evil, and I don't know where I'm going with this.
So I think evil is, for actors, unplayable, like as a concept.
Right. And that's a good point.
And I talked to Chidem about this, and I can't remember how we started talking about it, but we were talking about the idea that all, speaking of plays specifically, but really of all people, all characters are motivated by the desire for love. And that is clear in the characters of the extremists, the way they're written. And their definition of what that means for them is different, from each other and from mine. And they also, the play also gets to show really a spectrum of belief within Islam, and that really makes it a completely fish out of water piece for what American audiences are used to.
Yeah.
And I think that, you see people's like little Rumi quotes on Facebook or Instagram, whatever, but there is a really good New Yorker article called it's something about how the Islam has been removed from the text of Rumi in translation. And, Rumi, just doing Wikipedia research for the play, like came from what is now Afghanistan, moved to Turkey, spoke and wrote in Persian, and the translation examples that they give show a very clear agenda and bias of the translators. So we have to, as American audiences, we have to keep challenging ourselves like this.
I don't know how people would respond to this, but I did that project a while back, Pangea, where this we were talking to a girl from Egypt, and she was saying how she didn't think, she was Muslim, and she said people declaring these young kids declaring holy war and dying, for the sake of Islam, people forget that they're killing themselves. Like, people forget that they're kids that are killing themselves. And like just that, and she's like, and when you grow with nothing but rubble around you, I mean, so that has that was in, she said that in 2013, and I think that every time
but too, all of the tactics that make a difference in persuading people and arguing people and changing people's minds, none of them are religious arguments in the play. They're all arguments of family obligation and not even humanity, but just like, what would your mother say? Or, my father expects me to do this, or, you need to tell your mother what you've been up to. And none of those are really dogmatic religious arguments.
Right. I'm trying to think of when I say, because I said Aristotelian thought, but their thought, it's not, I don't know what the word is. I mean, it's philosophical and not humanity, but like it's like the end of JB or whatever, like the human heart, that sort of moment, the connection. It's beautiful.
One thing I realized through this reading was the connection of Sevgi with lying. From the very beginning of the play, it's about lying. I'm not going to lie. Don't lie. I'm not going to lie. And then she lies. And then she lies. And then she lies. And then finally, at the very end, she tells the truth. I didn't know that about the play until this. Which is interesting thing to say to my students or all writers, is that your mind is doing things that are much more profound than what you're consciously doing. You know what I mean? That are much more sort of layered and interesting. If you think that's layered, I mean, I think that's layered and interesting. That theme of lies belongs to that character thread.
Olby one time was asked about Zeus story and like all these profound questions about, well, now this guy and this guy, did you intend that they did blah, blah? And he said, well, actually, no, I was just writing a play about two guys who are strangers who meet on a bench.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all of that other stuff is gravy. He didn't think all of that deep stuff, but this audience that was talking to him were getting all, delicious things out of this little one act, whatever it is. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I just already remember that.
That's what an audience is for.
Yeah.
Any more audience? Elizabeth commented that she thinks the cuts are good. She didn't
feel it's good.
remember those things till they were brought up, and I found watching the reading of the play more moving than I remember reading the script. Yeah, but also credit to the actors. My gosh.
And yeah, everybody.
Yeah,
Sinan,
really.
I think one of the interesting things for me was hearing the echoes between Ayla and Sevgi, even though they've been estranged. And I think one of those echoes is that Ayla also lies or edits.
Yeah, Isla hid the. That was a big moment when Isla was hiding that her boyfriend partner was there. Well, Sevgi was talking to her.
This came up the other day. We were with Mary and her partner, and this very question came up, which I also hadn't thought about, that she doesn't tell him or tell her, oh, he's right here. He does, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm also thinking like Hakan doesn't know that she had children. She told him a version of her life that didn't include her children.
Right.
Oh, wow. Yeah. It's nice when characters lie.
Yeah.
Especially when you believe them, or they're not lying for like a plot reveal necessarily. They're lying because they need to, or some other other deeper reason that has to do with their story.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't thinking that she was lying. She was just doing what was natural to her, which was she didn't want to tell everybody that she lost a child. She sort of compartmentalized that part of her life and left it behind. And she didn't want to, it wasn't really, until this happened, she wasn't really facing that.
Yeah. That is very, very, very relatable and very human. So, okay, well, we're coming to the last 10 minutes. Is there anyone else that's watching that had any questions or comments? Usually we say, we ask the playwright to please not, we talked about cuts, but things to please do not cut if you ever revisit the play again and start hacking away at it for some reason. I don't think that you would do that.
No.
Because you already did some things.
No, this reading definitely helped the play. There's no question. So I think Elizabeth just wrote that she was glad of the. How come we never? Elizabeth is like the Wizard of Oz. She does not make an appearance. We wrote epic stuff. Is Wordsmyth admit Elizabeth actually?
Wordsmyth admin is Ian.
Oh, okay.
And then...
Anyway, hello, Elizabeth. It was great to get to work with your theater. It was an amazing privilege, and I'm not going to type it out. I'm just going to tell you right now that thank you so much for all of it.
Oh, it's so nice. That is funny. We should make Elizabeth come to these. No questions, but wanted to say beautiful play, Sinan, great work. Troy and the actors perfectly inhabited their characters. They really did. Was there any during the course of it, because we lost 10 minutes, we don't have the actors here, but did you have feedback from the actors during this that was just interesting or informed the play or revealed something about a character or something like that you remember?
I didn't really have discussions about the play with the actors, except Mary and I, we've been talking. And
the Turkish actors had never acted in English. That was interesting. That's not kind of what you asked, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, Troy and I were watching the footage of Ali doing the Emir character, and we were both like, wow, he really dedicated himself to that. It was really amazing. They were all really
My
amazing.
partner kept going, he's so good. He's so good. And he'd be playing, he was playing them all the three characters. So.
Yeah.
Mhm. I'm excited because I get to work with Gabe on the next show.
I know they were both really amazing as well, Gabe and
Yeah.
Patrick.
Yeah.
It was thank you, Troy, for that also, for casting those roles so well.
Yeah.
It was great. It was a great experience for me, and I hope that people get to watch it and enjoy it and ask more questions. And yeah.
Oh, final thing too is actually we should all plug if you have something coming up that may be online or in your local community, it's fine. You can plug that too. Yeah, normally we plug what we're doing next or where the play is going next if you might have a production coming up.
I'm going to be in Three Sisters at the theater is called Two Rivers in Red Bank, New Jersey. And it's written by the new translation by a really cool playwright named Madeline George. She's Lisa Krone's wife. If you know who Lisa Krone is, she wrote Well. And that's really cool. I play the old drunk doctor. That's in December or January, actually, a run. And hopefully, knock wood, let's hope we get to be together.
Yeah. It's going to be on an actual stage, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I don't think our intention is to produce it Zoom.
Yeah, in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Cool.
But you know what? It's a really hot regional theater. So I mean, it's a really good regional theater.
No, I'm like trying to think if I can make it to New Jersey in January.
I know, really, and it's right on the ocean, so I'm sure it's going to be colder than hell. So, yeah.
Oh man,
I'm so excited because it's a brand new theater with a lot of really nice theater and apartments for the actors.
Oh,
wow. In New York City, the theaters are dirty and tiny and
basements, yeah,
hard to get to.
And under a whorehouse.
Yes, and under a whorehouse.
If you're lucky.
Oh man, yeah, it's true. And then Troy, do you have something?
I do. I have 3 things possibly. So my theater here in Houston is called Brave Little Company. We're at brave-little.com. And we have a piece opening in September that is it's a multi-part series. It is for audiences aged 9 to 14 and their families. The piece is called Missing from the Museum, and it is an art history, time traveling, adventure, choose your own path story about this is season 2. So season 2 is about a secret society that is training students to rescue lost works by women artists from the past. And
that sounds great. That sounds amazing.
It's super fun. I just wrote episode 1 mostly. And then there is another iteration of the Big Us Project, which is a work that is created by 100 refugees here in Houston, 100 people from Houston's refugee communities. This year it is all film-based, so I haven't scheduled it yet, but it's probably going to be around the beginning of December, so you'll get to see the films that were made around the theme of home. And then hopefully, I'm still talking to the creative team about this, but last year we produced a play by mail, which is called Paper Offerings, which is a story told through letters about a Vietnamese American girl living in Houston and her experiences during the pandemic when she starts receiving mysterious items that are mysteriously left in her house. So hopefully in time for Lunar New Year, which is February 1st, that'll be starting out for season 2 of that.
Good.
Wow.
That's very cool.
That's it.
I like your theater company.
We do what we want.
I'm a very
That's
big
great.
fan. Very, very big fan. That's so cool. Where I'm doing Poe. I'm doing some Poe stories, Nevermore at Classical. I'm just like as an AD, and then dramaturging RUR. which will be fun. I'm trying to get a theater company to do permaculture as performance and plant a garden. So hopefully that happens. And I am finishing a biopolitics paper on citizenship and maternity.
Wow.
That's and that's, and then Sinan, you're the final. I left you for last.
Oh, if something's coming up for me, I'm writing something. I have a big project that I'm working on. I'm hoping to have finally a production in Istanbul this year. I'm told it's going to happen, but nothing's definite until it happens. Other than that, I don't really have anything. I have a new play that, it's pandemic time, so it's kind of sitting there, but people have read it and people have enjoyed it. So I'm hoping it will get produced. Yeah, I'm working on a TV project now, which will be interesting.
Okay, cool. I guess Ian's here. Ian, do you have anything coming up?
Since you asked,
Hi,
hi everyone, my name's Ian Mozzie. I'm Wordsmyth's technical director, among other things, and I am in an ongoing production with Pronoia Theater. There's a web serial called Space Train. It is a very dark sitcom set on a train in space. We do episodes the first Thursday of every month, which means we've got one this coming Thursday at 8 p.m. Central.
Oh, cool.
And actually, as soon as we get done here, I'm going to hop off and head over and switch over to rehearsal for that. So
Cool.
I have like one last thing I actually have to plug, because this Saturday, there is a performer, Pilar Andujar, that's going to be doing avant-garde flamenco. She's telling a story through flamenco of her when she, 5 years ago, she performed a jump that broke tons of, I don't know exactly how many, but many, many bones in her body, and her recovery over that time. And so yeah, she's come from Spain to Houston, and it's like a one night only thing this Saturday. And it will be virtual as well. It's called El Salto. So if she's incredible, just incredible. So if you have a chance, and if you feel like watching something unique, that is something I really recommend. This Saturday, 7 p.m. At Mecca for Houston.
Oh, really?
Our Houstonites. Okay, so that is everything. Thank you so much for this play. I really hope that it gets produced. When I hear about theaters wanting to produce something new, I am going to recommend this play.
Thank you. Thanks very much for this talk back. It was enjoyable. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. It was really great to meet you all.
Yeah. All right.
All right, thank you.
thank you all and good night.
Good night.
Thank you.